The ACL is a ligament that's in the internal part of the knee, and it provides stability in a number of planes. So that's a ligament that stabilises all those movements, and an ACL injury is when that knee ligament gets torn. There's a number of ways that can happen, and it's usually when you get in a position when the ligament goes taut and exceeds its capacity to bear that load. What we saw with Rory, when he planted his foot in a slightly bent position, but the lower part of his leg sort of was outside his knee and his knee collapsed inwards. So that's an example of how that can happen. In the elite sports person who needs to do twisting and turning and plant their knee, they will need to have that ligament there to do those movements. Ultimately, you have to replace the torn bit of tissue with some tissue from elsewhere. With any recovery, there's a whole number of phases. The initial phase, which is just getting over the operation, getting the knee gently moving, then doing some more strength in the knee, then moving on to things, running or cycling, running, then changing direction, then football skills. So there's a whole sort of process you have to go through to fully recover from that surgery. Now that process is roughly around 12 months, but it can vary from individual to individual. What you ultimately want is a knee that can stand up to being pulled tight with all those varying twisting, turning, planting your knee. It's got to be mature enough to cope with those positional and getting pulled. As important in a lot of ways is to make sure that all the muscles around the knee are all perfectly aligned so that they can activate and protect the ligament, and then the ligament can stand up to any stress if it's left on its own a little bit.